We now return to the 2020 Fannie Awards.
Welcome back, everybody, to the special quarantine edition, the 2020 Fannie Awards. And today is the final day. That's right, final day of our 5-day event, where I'm going to talk about the 10 best movies that I saw in the year 2020, and there were not many, so some of them are probably not going to be as good as you would originally imagine. So how today is going to work is like this. I'm just going to tell you off the bat the bottom 5, numbers 10 through 6, and then with numbers 5 through 1, I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about why these ones deserve the Fannies for being the top 5 films of the year in a year where, our choices were limited. So let's begin. At number 10, I think Onward should take this slot. Onward was just kind of blah, wasn't anything special, but it's the 10th best movie I saw all year. Makes sense. Number 9, coming out at roughly the same time of year, Sonic the Hedgehog. Better than I expected. Jim Carrey was scarier as a villain than I expected. Sonic was great and lovable. James Marsden is always great and lovable. Can't complain about Sonic. Number 8, Spike Lee's The Five Bloods. Spike Lee's movies are hit and miss for me. Sometimes they can be masterpieces. Other times they can be really weird, pretentious political stuff, and it just kind of sends you mixed messages. But I thought The Five Bloods kind of skewed more in the direction of high art. It was really, really well done. It was enjoyable. It was very long, but it didn't feel long. And it had a powerful group of characters led by a couple powerful actors and one hell of a great villain. If you tuned in yesterday, you can hear all about him. Number 7, Antebellum. This movie was something I was really looking forward to, and then it finally became available on streaming because I didn't get to see it in the theater. And it surprised me. It was really well done. The twist was great, even though I think a lot of people might see the twist coming. Antebellum is sort of a low-budget, less glossy Jordan Peele kind of movie, where you think you're getting one thing and then you get something else, but it speaks a lot about the current racial climate in America and entertains you to boot. It's not quite a Jordan Peele quality movie, but I did enjoy it better than Us, so there's that. And number 6 was Happiest Season. Happiest Season was just this little romantic comedy that came out on Amazon Prime, I believe, and it was a Christmas movie about 2 girls who are dating, and one girl goes to meet the other girl's family, but shocker, the other girl has not come out to her family yet, so she has to pretend like they are just roommates or friends, and hilarity ensues. This one was actually really sweet. But those were my bottom 5 movies. Now, let's talk about the top 5, the best of 2020. Coming in at number 5, from way back at the beginning of the year, we have Birds of Prey, or The Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. Long title. As a DC movie, Birds of Prey worked. As a Harley Quinn spin-off movie, Birds of Prey worked. As an ensemble superhero movie, Birds of Prey worked. And as a cool little look at the psychology of Harley Quinn and her breakup with the Joker and what that means for her as a character, Birds of Prey worked. It just all around worked. It was a fun movie. It was beautiful to look at. It was visually and artistically more interesting than Suicide Squad. I think that all around, Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn did a superior job at showcasing these peripheral DC characters and giving them their time to shine, because they all deserve their time to shine. And we got a great look at new faces like Black Canary and the Huntress and Black Mask, people from DC lore who I'm obsessed with that I finally got to see on the big screen, and they all were terrific. If you skipped on this one because either A, you're sick of superhero movies, or B, you just did not like Suicide Squad at all, I understand why you would. Personally, I think Harley Quinn is a vastly overrated character anyway. I'm already sick to death of her. But I really liked what they did with Birds of Prey. And I will say this, it's my favorite thing with Harley in it that has been made for film or TV. So there you go. They did a good job. Coming in at number 4, the 4th best movie of 2020, we have Wonder Woman 1984. I promise this whole list is not just going to be DC movies. These are literally the only 2 DC movies that came out this year. But Wonder Woman 1984 was, in my opinion, worth the wait, and, wait for it, better than the original. Yes, the original was charming, and it did a great job introducing Diana to the world, especially to people who weren't that familiar with her character and what she could do. But it was kind of a generic, safe, bland origin movie, albeit done beautifully well, and Patty Jenkins is a superb director, and I was really happy with how she did it. I just think it was good. Not great, but good. And then along comes Wonder Woman 1984, and I think it elevated it to great. This is a very different movie. It's very colorful. It's very wacky. It's extremely comic booky. This is a comic book movie where there is a magic rock that grants wishes. It's that kind of movie because Wonder Woman is that kind of story. The DC universe is full of a lot of crazy magic and godlike tales that are more allegory than actual plot. And I think Patty Jenkins and her writing team did a fantastic job of taking those two things and helping them coalesce so that we have something that is both allegory and plot. Because if it was too much of one and the other, I think we would have ended up with a bad movie on our hands, and that's not the case. Wonder Woman 1984 is enjoyable as hell. It's colorful as hell. It's beautiful to look at. It's beautiful to listen to. Wonder Woman steps it up as a character, and we learn more about her. We get some great fight scenes. Normally I do the best fight scenes award, but this year there weren't that many. But I'll tell you what, if there had been, Wonder Woman's White House scene probably would have won, because that was, as far as I'm concerned, the best action sequence I saw all year. If you haven't seen Wonder Woman 1984 yet, you're in for a treat. It's just a fun, rollicking, good time in the DC universe, and frankly, we could all use that right now, so stop complaining. Now it's time for number 3. What was my third favorite film of the year? Right there, it is Soul. I don't think anybody watched Pixar's Soul and said that they didn't enjoy it or that they liked Onward better. Soul is just a superior, beautiful Pixar movie that gets to stand right up there with the titans like Toy Story and Ratatouille. It is part of that league now because Soul taught us so much, not just about the main character, Joe Gardner, but about ourselves as human beings. Soul is a movie about human beings and what we want versus what we don't want, and why we want and don't want those things, and how maybe sometimes we're a little bit misguided when it comes to what we want and don't want. And I'm making it sound a lot more confusing and stuffy and odd than it actually is. Soul is a beautiful, emotional roller coaster. Once again, Pixar built this great little world from the ground up and made its rules very clear, and made its characters full to bursting with personality, and there's not a moment of Soul that does not A, look beautiful, or B, feel beautiful. Soul is an excellent addition to Pixar's ever-expanding worlds, and I can't wait to see what this studio does next. Joe Gardner, you're my hero. You're literally my hero of 2020. You won the award. 22, you're not bad either. And now here we are already at the final 2. What was my number 2 film of 2020? How could it be better than Soul and Wonder Woman? I'll tell you how. By being The Invisible Man. I sang this movie's praises yesterday when I gave it the award for Most Underrated Motion Picture, and I'm going to sing more of its praises today. The Invisible Man is a flat-out horror thriller masterpiece that gets to stand up next to the likes of Alfred Hitchcock and his ilk. It is a Universal monster movie done right. I would argue it is maybe the best Universal monster movie we have ever gotten in the 100-plus year history of Universal Studios motion pictures. Yes, I said it. After failing twice to give us their promised shared dark universe and just letting that die with a squeak and a whimper, we could not have been in a lower place when it came to the Universal monsters. So I could not have been happier to step into The Invisible Man and walk out of that theater 2 hours later with a big smile on my face, knowing that at least now these Universal beloved classic monsters were in good hands. Now, I don't know if there's plans for this to continue. I don't know if there's plans for a sequel or if these people just want to go on and make Dracula now or something. I don't know. Frankly, I don't care anymore. They've tried twice to make a dark universe and it failed, so I'm not going to get my hopes up. All I know is that I have The Invisible Man as this one gem of a movie to put up next to my other Invisible Man movies and Wolfmans and classic Frankensteins that are on my shelf from the good old days, and it can stand there next to them proudly because it is a gorgeous masterpiece of a motion picture. They finally did it. It took them almost 100 years, but they finally made a Universal monster movie that works. Oh my God, they finally did it. But now, take a deep breath with me, because we have one movie left. Being the number 1 movie of 2020 is a strange accomplishment because it feels like it's not one. It's like being the most popular person at a party where only 4 people showed up to the party. It's kind of a little bit of a double-edged sword. Regardless, I believe that had we still gotten our fill of cinematic movies, had we not had to deal with COVID-19, I believe in my heart of hearts that this #1 movie would have ended up not just on this list, but high on this list. And you'll know why the second I say its name. Please put your hands together for the #1 motion picture of the year of our Dark Lord 2020. It is Borat, subsequent movie film. The world is an upside-down flip rubble double mess right now. And it hasn't just been that way since we've been hit by a virus. The world has been an upside-down flip rubble double mess for quite some time. And some of the best comedians out there have made their rise to fame by pointing out the ridiculousness and upside-downness of the world and showing us all of its flaws on display for everyone to see in a way that's political and poetic and just downright hilarious. And Borat, subsequent movie film, is exactly what we all needed right now. In a world where everyone has to stay indoors because there's a virus killing us all, and there's an inflatable racist orange beach ball who runs one of the most powerful nations on planet Earth, you need somebody like Sacha Baron Cohen to step into a spotlight and say, hey guys, we're friggin' weird. We humans are weird because look at what we've let happen. We need to hold up that kind of mirror to planet Earth, particularly the big nations like America, who tend to run planet Earth, or at least like to think they do from time to time, and say, you are not as beautiful as you think you are. Let's all laugh at you now, because you deserve to be laughed at. Taking everything that was great about the original Borat movie and expanding upon it, adding the new daughter character, Tutar, who went above and beyond what I could have ever expected, and arguably, I believe, is even braver than Sacha Baron Cohen for some of the things she had to subject herself to just for the sake of making this thing. We are left with one of the best comedy sequels ever, as well as, in my opinion, the greatest film of a year that sorely needed some laughs. Hopefully, movies like Borat, subsequent movie film, will be something we can look to when, in the hopefully very near future, we are trying to decide how to keep the mistakes of the past few years from happening again. How do we learn from the past? How do we avoid what we've done and try to move forward and make things better for the whole world in the future? Well, here's Borat, subsequent movie film, to take a look at everything we have done wrong, and maybe, just maybe, we'll learn from that. That's why it's not only the greatest movie of the year, but it is the most important movie of the last several years. Borat, subsequent movie film, you are the winner of this year's Fannie Awards. And with that, folks, I can only sit back and bid you all a humble thank you for watching and a very merry adieu. I hope you are all staying safe and staying healthy and staying indoors and staying masked or whatever it is you need to do to not give and receive viruses. I hope you're doing it so that one day, very, very soon, we can all get together and sit in a movie theater again and watch Black Widow, for crying out loud, because Phase 4 should have been coming by now. And I just want to know what happens to the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But until that day comes, and it will come, stay hopeful, stay healthy, and stay together as much as you safely possibly can. Anyways, thank you so much for watching the Fannie Awards. I wish all of you the very best, and I will see you here next year for hopefully a much more full slate. Until then, I'm Andrew Fantasia, and a very humble adios to all of you.